So Tony Hinchcliffe, he's the guy that was on the Tom Brady special, right? The roast.
Oh my God!
And he was like really almost
funny,
like mean, but very funny.
But that's his job,
right?
Right. Like
right.
he strikes me as like the new Jeff Ross, who is also there, by the way. He was been the roast master for years.
Yeah.
He says really uncomfortable things, mean things.
If you are roasting, that's what you do.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Right. People are like, he was mean. That's what a roast is. You tear everything apart.
Yeah, and some people watch that sort of world really closely. They know who's coming up, the comedians that are coming up in that world. Now, I don't watch it very closely. The first time I had ever seen him was on that Tom Brady roast.
Me too.
Like,
but he's
my
big.
God, this guy's amazing. He's had a huge following.
Yeah.
And it was really uncomfortable, really mean, really funny. Like, that is his job.
What is our first rule?
You don't cut funny.
You don't cut funny.
Mm-hmm.
You don't cut funny. If it's funny, it's funny. You leave it alone. You don't cut funny.
And there at least used to be a situation where there might be an outrage over one of these things, but the comedians would rally to the other comedian.
Not this guy.
Mostly not. I've seen a little bit of it.
Well, I mean, I would say rallying. I think somebody who's rallying actually to his defense is Jon Stewart. Listen to this.
Now, obviously, in retrospect, having a roast comedian...
Wait. Stop. Let's play so you know, in case you missed it.
Yeah.
Let's play what he said first.
It is absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Now listen to the crowd.
All right.
The crowd reacts just like a roast
getting there.
crowd.
Right. A real big groan. Right. All right.
But everyone knows it's a joke.
Right.
Adults are familiar with this form of entertainment.
Right.
Right. And you go, oh man.
Oh,
brutal.
that's bad.
And then you wait for the next one.
Right.
And then you wait for the next group that gets hit.
That's why he was saying, all right, okay, all right, you'll get there.
Yeah,
you'll
right.
get there.
Yeah.
He's just saying, all right, I know, but you'll understand this form here soon.
And that moment, by the way, is a moment that the roast comedians cherish.
Yes,
that
it is.
Awkwardness is something that you cherish in that moment. That is literally what you're going for.
Right.
You want that sound.
It's mainstream Andy Kaufman. You know how Andy Kaufman went and he wanted to make everybody uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Okay, this is mainstream. This is a roast.
Yeah, and it's tough. And I can understand why you can theoretically be critical of saying, I don't know if he's the right guy, if he's going to do that there.
When you have someone who's well-known, has a big following, and is mainstream enough like him, where he was the funniest thing on that Tom Brady special.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah. And there was a lot that was funny in it.
That will show up. You damn right you take it.
And I would say, I wouldn't even use the word mainstream. He's like cool.
Yeah.
Right? Very, very rarely do Republicans get people who are actually cool. That's why Elon Musk is at some level interesting to the Republicans.
Right.
Because he's like, this amazing Tony Stark character. He's actually like on our side for once.
I know.
This guy is probably the funniest, edgiest, up-and-coming roast comedian there is. He is like stole that show at times. And, remember, the Netflix Tom Brady special is one of the most watched things of the entire year. Right? This was a massive, massive cultural event. He was one of the stars of it. And he's coming and he's doing his shtick to a major audience in a sort of party environment.
Right.
It is totally what he should do, and it would be expected to do in that moment.
So now that's our opinion. Now listen to Jon Stewart.
Now, obviously, in retrospect, having a roast comedian come to a political rally a week before Election Day and roasting a key voting demographic, probably not the best decision by the campaign politically. But to be fair, the guy's really just doing what he does. I mean, here he is at the Tom Brady roast a few months ago.
The great Jeff Ross, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff is so Jewish, he only watches football for the coin toss. Gronk, you look like the Nazi that kept burning himself on the ovens. Kevin is so small that when his ancestors picked cotton, they called it deadlifting.
Yes, of course. Terrible, boo, yes. There's something wrong with me. I find that guy very funny. So, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, bringing him to a rally and have him not do roast jokes, that'd be like bringing Beyonce to a rally and not have... Oh.
Right?
Yeah. It's very, very funny and exactly what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And like the fact that the media is now like, they're all upset. AOC's like, I can't believe this racism. Stop.
You know what?
Stop it. I'd call her an adult, but she has the mind of a 3-year-old.
You know what is amazing here is they have willingly stepped back into the Al and Tipper Gore category. Where remember Al and Tipper Gore? They were like, oh, we've got to have labels on rap music.
Right. Yeah.
And they were so...
They were mocked for it.
So Karen-esque. So Karen-esque. And nobody wants to be around those people. Nobody wants to be around those people. And look at what the left is doing. Every step of the way, they're the ones that wreck the fun.
Yep, they are. I mean, you sound like Bill Maher right now, and which is shocking because you guys shouldn't sound the same.
No, we shouldn't.
But it's true. I mean, when you suck the fun out of life, you don't win. It's not a winning long-term position. You might win an election here or there. They might win this one. And that's terrifying to think about.
Don't.
But they might. They might win despite in spite of themselves.
Just keep swimming.
But it's true. Like when I always think about this when you talk about global warming. If you can present to people, hey, like why wouldn't we want clean water and clean air and a good environment? You're going to get a lot of people, even some conservatives and moderates, they're going to say, yeah, we should do those things. Like spending money on the environment's a good idea. When you start saying, hey, you shouldn't have any big screen TVs and your air conditioning should be set 78.
And no meat.
And no meat.
Eat a bug.
You lose. And that's why I love when they go with that messaging. Whenever they try to do that and take away your fun, you lose. That's what happens. And it's like... It's why I always am skeptical of efforts to limit technology. Like when people are like, oh, well, we got to, not do whatever, AI or smartphones or whatever. Look, I don't like a lot of that stuff. And would I think the world might be a better place if we got rid of a lot of it? Sure. But at the end of the day, when, it's performing tasks in your life that make your life easier, it's just going to win. You're not going to be able to stop it. And when you try to fight against that, people like having fun. Why do you think the abortion messaging works for the left? This is because they like that sort of like the lifestyle of being able to be a little promiscuous and not be punished for it is something that connects with a lot of freaking people, particularly young women. It does work with them. It's not necessarily they're all like, I'd like to end a lot of babies' lives. What they like is going to bars and hooking up, and at the end of the day, not being punished for it. It's why I remember you saying this a long time ago, when you were very young, you were pro-choice.
Yeah, keep your options open.
Keep your options open.
Yeah, really bad.
It's really bad.
Really bad.
And when you think about what it really means, of course, it's terrible. But when you are given a permission structure, and you're young and haven't thought these things out all the way, the permission structure is this is legal, it is health care. Mm-hmm. Well, of course you can justify that. Mm-hmm. If you buy that messaging, you can justify it, and it's why they use it. It's why it's effective, particularly on younger people. So I'm not surprised that sort of stuff wins. When you're on the other side and you're saying, jokes are bad, and you just stop noticing. Stop noticing that, the thing that the left is doing is completely insane, like just saying girls can be boys and boys can be girls by a few sentences.
Let me play the AOC, because if this was our messaging, if this is what we were saying in the last week of the election, would you think it was going well? First, AOC.
This was a hate rally. Mm-hmm. This was not just a presidential rally. This was also not just a campaign rally. I think it's very important for people to understand that these are mini January 6th rallies.
This is so bad.
These are mini Stop the Steal rallies. These are rallies to prime an electorate into rejecting the results of an election if it doesn't go the way that they want. Because Donald Trump and that entire cadre of people up on that stage, Stephen Miller, et cetera, do not respect the law of the United States of America.
Yeah.
Okay, these words may not age a week, because if they lose, if it doesn't go their way, producing staff, make sure we have all of these cuts of saying exactly what Donald Trump is going to do. All of them. Make sure you have all of them.
And at the front of that rally will be that woman. And she will be sitting there and she will be encouraging her social media audience to bail out the people who burn the cities down.
Right.
That is like, it's so predictable. And like, you know, speaking of AI, that argument is basically like, craft a liberal argument to criticize Trump's rally and tie it to January 6th, enter, and she's reading it. It's pathetic. That is a pathetic mini January 6th. It's so, in some ways it would be adorable if she was 11. Right?
Well, how about Mika from MSNBC? Here's what she said.
God.
I think a lot of people are seeing that rally at Madison Square Garden, seeing all those people. Doesn't mean he's going to win the race. But my point is, it's discouraging that so many people would gather and rally to hate speech.
It's not what it is.
In America. That it's discouraging and it hurts.
And it hurts.
That people who have family in Puerto Rico, who are Puerto Rican Americans, who are American citizens, are hearing hate like that.
I mean, can you imagine?
It's discouraging.
Imagine if this was
and
her actual position.
Show,
it's not.
Michelle
She's
Obama
lying.
and Kalamazoo, but
Imagine
I
if she
think
actually
it's
believed this.
Important to look at the situation, and it's not just oh my gosh about the race. It's oh my gosh. How did we get here? How did we get here? Where a stadium
I can't take any more of this. These are the people that brought Eminem on stage last week. Eminem, a person who who built his career on domestic violence, rapping about domestic violence as part of his act, and rapping about beating gay people as part of his act. You might find that distasteful. I find it distasteful. That being said, it's his act. I understand that. I don't think he has had some legal problems, but I don't think he's actually bashing gay people. I don't like his act, but we all understand it was his act. And they can bring him up on stage. And I think as adults, we should all be able to look at that and say, look, he's, said some things that the party shouldn't want necessarily representing them. But what are you going to do? Obviously, he's a rapper. That's his business. The same thing should be said for Kill Tony, right? Like, he's up there. He's doing his thing. That is his shtick. Every adult, including even morons like AOC and the idiots on Joe Scarborough's stupid show, all know exactly what reality is. And they're pretending they don't.
And here's how you know the Democrats know this, okay? Because there are Democrats in swing states that are running commercials right now with them and Donald Trump, with pictures of them at a signing or something, anything. He voted with Donald Trump. He's middle of the road. He doesn't lean all one way or the other. Look, here's a picture of him and Trump. They're running these things. If you actually thought the man was Hitler, you wouldn't run those. Your party wouldn't pay for that. This is all a sham. They're convincing you he's Hitler. I think people like Mika is actually convinced herself he's like Hitler. But
and which was a fascinating thing, considering she's partially responsible for him being the president of the United States. Mm-hmm. They fawned over him for a year and brought him on and told him the questions in advance. They told him, they asked him what they shouldn't hit. I mean, they were...
Right, and they were
best buds.
Yeah, weren't they at his house during one of the debates or something?
Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, they were close friends for a long time.
They loved him.